very open, but I had to also make it clear that that doesn't mean I'm going to convert,
Hmm.
So it's like I'm not going to try and infiltrate and do things to manipulate you into stepping away from that. And I need you to respect my space where I'm at. If it happens naturally, that's different, you know. But I basically came into it saying, don't expect it.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Mel, and welcome to Life Coaching by Mel. Here at Life Coaching by Mel, we speak truth regarding the family, and that truth is here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button, like button for everyone. Hit me in the comment section what you think about this amazing topic. Hit that notification bell as well so you can get each and every one of my videos. Like I said, I speak truth regarding the family here on the channel, and today is no different. But I need some help. I got a friend of mine that's gonna help me out. Newfound friend, lady by the name of Sharitha the Shields. How you doing, Sharitha?
I am excellent. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my honor and pleasure. Me and Sharitha has met through another recent guest, Kristen, and we've connected. And Sharitha is a powerhouse, ladies and gentlemen. So you may want to buckle up. She has an amazing story, and she's bold in how she expresses herself. So I'm looking forward to that with this discussion today. Let's transition to you had that 8 year, 9 year period where you were single. That sounds incredible, by the way. I mean,
Yeah,
I can imagine you went through some true detoxing,
I
and some.
did. It
I
was
can
a
imagine.
beautiful thing, though. I mean, I had my ups and downs and feelings and different things. You just go through it. But it all in all, yeah, I think it helped me shed a lot of baggage. So that's why
Yeah,
I say being single and having it, promoting that, or a woman to handle these things, and men even to an extent. People, you need two whole people. You can't come into a relationship. It's going to be toxic.
yeah,
People need to learn to be authentic and love themselves. Learn to love on yourself and not
absolutely.
get in and go into this relationship with this idea of looking for somebody to meet a need that you should be meeting yourself. Like
Hmm.
that that's a problem. That is a problem. And I understand people feel like, oh, I need you and we need to need each other. No, you don't. You're in a relationship because you're partnering for a reason. Partner. And
Hmm.
when you have two people that are just super needy, no, that's not going to work. You have to be willing to let things let things go if you feel like it's not meeting, it's not at a certain standard or whatever your tolerance level or point threshold is. Then you can say, this is not working. But we have to
Yep.
be realistic here. Just because you say I do to someone, um and I married young, by the way, so you know how that goes. When you're young, they say you're
Absolutely.
young and stupid. There's a lot you don't know. And
Yeah.
with age comes wisdom. I'm like, "Shh."
Yeah.
So I got my battle scars. Um, I got my battle scars, but a lot of wisdom has come about as a result. And yeah, I see things much differently, and I don't have any regrets as far as divorces and things like that. I know that each step was reaching out to the woman that I am now.
Yeah. So beautiful. So beautiful. So the woman that you are now decided to do this marriage thing again. Uh, so what led you to that? And tell us about your relationship with your new marriage.
Yeah, actually, so marriage, my marriage now, and I'm gonna tell you, I did a lot of reflecting back on my first one because it was like I knew what I didn't want, right? But what's interesting about this one is I mentioned to you, in a prior conversation, of course, I mentioned to you that we were, but at this point, I was born and, into Christianity and was raised Christian. And then I, just kind of evolved into just being, spiritual and whatnot. But my husband was Muslim. And so most of us kind of tend to know at a high level, like just that whole the Islamic stance on things with women and all of that. And so, and I had a lot of people like, oh, you get ready to wear all those coverings and you get ready to, it was like people focused on the superficial. um, But no, I came in with the whole thing like, listen, bruh, this is where I am with my
Yeah.
spirituality. No disrespect, because I respect where you are. So I was like, I don't mean any disrespect whatsoever, but please, I was like, I gotta be clear and make this true. I like, I like you a lot. I really do. I love you and all this stuff. You have the feelings and the emotions and all of that. But I was like, I am not compromising where I'm at spiritually.
Mm.
And so we know about the whole equally yoked thing, right?
Right.
So they say, oh, you shouldn't. And so that was like my one of my concerns too at first, because I was like, oh, his family, I was like, what are they gonna think if so I went back and forth with that, but again said with age comes wisdom, right? So I made sure that I stood on my square, because that was important to me. I was like, I'm not sacrificing myself anymore or doing anything. It's time for me to be in a good place with myself. And if somebody can't accept that, then no, we don't need to be interacting or this. So this is kind of the conversation that was had early on. We knew we really cared about each other and liked each other a lot. And it was just like, okay, we do have this. And so I actually came out. This is where I say we have to remember, I said put the diving gear on, and you
Yeah.
got to jump in that cold ocean, waves chopping every which way. Um, and so I I had to do that and sit down and have that conversation before anything got, we before we progressed further. And I said, listen, I said, I know that your family, you guys are devout Muslims, and I said, I'm not trying to take away from that. I don't want to. I'd rather walk away from this than see you or me, there be some friction with that.
Yeah.
I said, but one thing is, I said, you have my word. I'm not going to trample on what you do as far as that, in your religion. I said, but don't, you got to respect my space as well and my boundaries. I said, and I'm open to have conversations, because I like to understand. I love having discussions and enlightening conversations with people. I'm very open, but I had to also make it clear that that doesn't mean I'm going to convert.
Mm.
So it's like I'm not going to try and infiltrate and do things to manipulate you into stepping away from that. And I need you to respect my space where I'm at. If it happens naturally, that's different, you know. But I basically came into it saying, don't expect it. Don't expect it. If it happens, it happens. But please do not expect it, because I like the journey I'm on and where I'm at.
Yeah.
So that was
Oh wow.
it went better than I thought. And here we are, how many years later? Like the
Yeah.
12, 13 years
Oh
later,
man.
I'm sitting here like, and people ask, now I'm not gonna say it's been all perfect, because like I said, that whole communication thing,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just gonna be real, no marriage is perfect. So we still struggle a lot, with certain things. But again, I know that boundary line. So yeah, if as long as that does not get crossed,
Infringed
um,
on.
infringe, right, we're good. So that's what I'm saying. We still have to iron out some rough edges and wrinkles, but when it comes to that, we respect each other's space. And now I there are people who will argue against that and say you need to be equally yoked and blah blah blah. And I get it. That's for To me, it doesn't bother me. I'm like, if you're good and you're happy with where you're operating and living and whatever you want to follow and principles, if you're happy and you're good, then those good vibes transfer over, right?
Mm.
So if I'm good where I'm at and I'm, spreading good, vibes with you and everything's fine and we're cordial and we get along, then okay. But if people are doing this, that whole possessiveness and control, no, you need to believe what I believe, and you need to, then you don't need that's not a good fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
that's powerful there. So I want to say this real quick because this is, your conversation is directly based on religion. That was the crossroad you two had to go across when regarding your
Hmm.
dating, because me and my wife had similar things like, hey, there's certain things about my life that I expect to stay the same. I'm sure it is for you as well. We don't need to force this
Yeah.
thing to work.
Right.
If it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And so I think that just the conversation we can have about you and your husband can
Yeah.
apply to everyone. Like there may be moments if you're single right now or you're dating, there may be moments you say, "Hey, this is a line in the sand moment. We can't go any further." And it's fine too often. As two divorcees sitting right here, we can tell you
Right.
fine too
Right.
often where it's things early on you see you just look over and say, "Oh, we'll figure it out." More often than not, you're not gonna figure it out. Some things are just doomed from the start. It's just not
And
gonna
that's
work.
where I say put on the brakes and just number one, remember when I said when you dishonor yourself, you dishonor God. You can't, you're no
Yes.
good to anybody else when you're doing that. So
Right.
yeah, you have to get back to that. And if you know where your hard line is, and I'm
Mm,
speaking to both now, you know where your hard line is, then that's what it is. You don't
yeah.
keep moving it back and moving it around and shifting it from the top to the bottom to accommodate, someone. You have to know where that line is.
Yeah, no
Um,
doubt about it.
and respect it, and then show that, let other people know they have to respect it as well. And if they can't, um, can I show you to the door? And I know that sounds harsh, but life is too short.
Yeah.
You don't have time for all of that, and your hard lines, that's what it is. And don't have any regrets if you change your mind later, like, oh, maybe I've changed and I've evolved. Okay, so you changed and you've evolved. If you go back to that person and want to work it out because things are different, great. If not,
Mhm.
that's great too. Like, you
Yeah.
just got to be happy in your own space.
So true. And Sharitha, sometimes I try to look out for the people in the comment sections. Most of the time I don't care, but sometimes I do.
Uh-huh.
So this is one of those moments I want to try to look out for him. I can imagine someone's going to say, "Well, he must not be that deep in his religion, and he probably eat pork chop sandwiches on Saturday or something like that." So I just wanted to ask you. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, is he really? This is really a lifestyle for him.
Yeah, yeah, no, this was he was born and brought up.
Okay.
This is not like, oh, I'm a convert, and
Mm.
you tend to have a lot of men, and stuff that if they get locked up and they get out and then they come. Not my husband's never been locked up, but let me make that clear. But I'm just saying, like a lot of people are midlife converts, right?
Mm.
And so then yeah, but no, I mean to the T. Like, and the thing, what happened to work out is we tend to like the same foods. And when I met him, I had stopped eating pork like years before. So it just, again,
Right.
it's just kind of one of those things where, like timing, we just, I think it was just the timing of it. But but yeah, I didn't eat pork, so that was never a problem or issue. So pork, never came into our house. Um, but yeah, I understand. You're right. Like most people are going to want to know. But when I tell you, yeah, he is a devout Muslim. I'm talking that 5 times a day, bow down to the east, got the prayer rugs, go to his, the Juma sessions every Friday. Matter of fact, he's gonna be leaving out to go soon. These are
Wow.
yeah, yeah, very devout Muslim. And there are times, I gotta be honest, where we've had conversations, not where we clashed or argued. We just had a very just mature conversation about different things because and mostly it was me asking questions because I'm curious. I'm like that. I don't know if you recall, there used to be a commercial, like a ad that used to come on TV all the time, and it was to help people get funding, federal funding, and there was a guy that had all a suit with all these question marks on it. I
Not
can't
sure.
remember but it's old school now. But
Gotcha.
it he used to have all these question marks on them, and it symbolized people like, what do I do? How do I get this money? How do I do? And so I'm one
Right.
of I'm that person that I need to walk around with a shirt or a suit or something that just got a bunch of question marks on it because
Right.
I was that kid that the grown-ups used to always go, stop asking so many questions. I mean, they didn't have answers, so it was because I
Yeah.
said so. So I grew up under this,
Yeah.
but it never took away or stifled my curiosity. So I'm always asking. So we would have conversations, and I would ask them, "Hey, why are the women? What's with the whole covering, and why do some wear this and don't?" And I ask a lot of questions because I genuinely want to understand.
Mm.
And then, sometimes it would spark a conversation or a debate because I drill down a little bit more and it might go into uncomfortable territory. And when it gets to uncomfortable territory, that's when I'm like, let me pull back.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, I'll go wherever I go down to the ocean. Give me, put me in the little pod if I need. If the pressure is too great down there, put me in one of them little protective pod machines where I can go down and I still need to see what is happening down here. So, so that is just who I am, and he knows
Yeah.
that. He know I don't mean any harm. I don't do stuff for the sake of trying to argue.
Yeah.
If I'm asking you something, because I'm like, I genuinely want to know what's this all about. And if I don't particularly agree with it after I get my explanation or you say something, I'm like, okay, and I might dig further. But if I probe too much, I just pull back. I'm not trying to make someone uncomfortable and start anything. And if they're not able to take me to the depths of where I want to go with that question, I know how to go and find it. you know, I mean, I'm a researcher, by nature. So
Right.
yeah.
Good stuff. I love it. So earlier in the conversation, you mentioned about some comments from his family. You kind of went over a little bit, but kind of tell us, how did you handle those conversations, and what advice would you give to others that are dealing with you know drama and issues from other people outside of the marriage?
Yeah, well, I have to surprisingly, I did not have that issue. I was
Mm,
actually expecting it, but I'm so shocked. I never even had the conversation. It's so
mm,
weird, and they have embraced me like as one of their own, and it makes no sense to me right now because again, we know just in general most people are very critical of, how could you go step outside the family and, or whatever. Just like I'm sure those conversations with somebody, the interracial stuff, and
absolutely.
like, Lord, he done brought home somebody, it's like I I was expecting I was expecting it, but on the other end, I was prepared for it. I was
Mm,
ready, and so a lot of that soul searching, I knew I was prepared to, if I needed to, stand on my square and say, this is where I am. I mean, no harm. I'm here, and but the thing is, I'm gonna tell you what it was. When they realized the value that I brought to their son, brothers, whatever's like, they were like, oh, he's happier than I've ever seen, But and I'm
wow.
sure it was odd because, and this is a little personal story. There was a woman I think, interested in him from his
Mm,
match, and we had discussions about that, and he actually said that she used to always be like, well, what is it about her? Talking about me. Like, how could you? Like, what is there more from this woman than there was from the family? Like, I'm like, what
mm,
is this? But no, he was honest in saying, that he's like, look, I can't explain it, but this is what it is, and this is I love her, I like her, and it's that way to this day for him.
wow.
He expresses it a lot, and I don't understand it at all because again, this is an anomaly.
Mm.
It's an anomaly for two unequally yoked people to survive the song without biting each other's heads off about that. I mean, believe it or not, if we do, get into it about something, it's not about that.
Right, right.
Other stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't really have any drama stories. And that's the
Mm,
part that is very surprising to me because it seems like there should be some mess, right?
Yeah,
But I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. They have all um embraced me as their own, and his mother especially. Like she's,
that's awesome.
sometimes mother-in-laws and daughter, there's like this thing,
All the
but
more.
yeah, but no, we've never had that, and
That's awesome.
I'm very fortunate and blessed that we can do that. But again, it's about respecting. It's just all about respecting where someone is. We all
Yes.
want to, we learn something and we think, oh, this is going to be best for you. And we want to encroach on somebody else and their family and force them to do. No, I move how I move and I respect you. Care about the family and everything. And so it's just been a mutual respect thing.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Mhm.
Can you recall a pivotal moment that happened within your marriage that changed the course of the
Oh man, I probably got a few of those. We've been
marriage?
we're always we're always shifting and trying to do things. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, I would say actually the birth of my son. He's my third son, and he was a surprise baby because I got pregnant with him and had him at 40.
Mm.
Meanwhile, he was born like literally 9 months after my granddaughter.
Oh wow.
So he was one of those oops babies. And yeah, and it was interesting how that happened because, my first granddaughter who was a preemie, she was I remember when my son, brought her over to the house and I kept her that night. Like soon as she got out the hospital and I had her that first night and I'm like, "Oh," and then he looks over and was like, "Oh," he said, "You want you another one of those?" Jokingly. And 2 weeks later, I was pregnant. And I was like, this is no, I
Wow.
didn't want this. So yeah, I can laugh about it now, but trust me, during the time that was very difficult because I had a lot of mixed emotions. We were still new, right? In the marriage. It was
Mm.
like I was just like, this is not happening. And I'm 40. I'm done. Baby factory should be closed. Like
Yeah.
what is this? So we went through a lot with that because it was the same for him. His prior marriage, he had a daughter, as well. And so it's
Mm.
like I think we were in a good place when it comes
Yeah.
to, that. And so that just really added a lot of tension, stress, it was that shifted things a whole lot.
Right.
And now, my son, he is autistic and he is
Mhm.
on the significant end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And it does bring a lot of challenges. Anybody that can survive a child who has severe developmental delays and disability and behavioral issues, because that is no joke. But again, we find ourselves somehow working together to make out. He see I'm tired, I'm frustrated. He'd be like, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I can really explain it is you have to be considerate and mindful of each other, and he's very attentive in that way. So that helps smooth out a lot of those rough edges. But that was pivotal because we really didn't know where things were going.
Yeah.
I was, yeah, that was really a major thing for me. So,
Absolutely.
especially when you're not planning
Yeah.
for a child
Absolutely.
like that. I was a hot mess. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was not, I was like, I'm done. I'm not having any more kids, and that was it for me. It was a wrap. I was ready to be like, all right, yeah. And then next thing you know, bam. And I was like,
Bam.
and it changed my world. I couldn't work anymore the way I used to, career
Wow.
shut down. I had to pivot quite a bit just from this one life event.
Wow.
It changed a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, I can imagine that. I appreciate you for sharing
Hmm.
that once again. That's powerful stuff. How you guys united and came together and just worked as a team even the more. With that, I want to ask you
Yeah.
here as we begin to wrap up today's episode. What
Hmm.
advice would you give someone who's in or considering being in a relationship with two different religious beliefs or backgrounds, and or for anyone that's you in the marriage, but you realize, look, the red flags or the things that we were different and that we chose to ignore during the dating scenario. It's a little challenging now. What
Yeah.
advice would you give that person?
Well, I don't recommend it for everyone. It's not for everybody. It's not. It's not for everybody. And I say that because if you are not spiritually elevated enough, mentally, emotionally, whatever, you're not going to be able to handle it. You have to be at a level where you're not trying to control and um, possess the other person and get them to always be and do what you want them to do and be. So if people could just keep that in mind, if they're going to do that, like I said, it wasn't a thing that we were, it was an intentional thing. I think I was just more or less kind of trying to find out, well, let's see where this goes, but um it can be challenging for some. For us, it happened not to be, but that was, I think, just because we handled it from a mature standpoint. But if people are not, if they're not enlightened enough and strong enough in their own sense of self, and um, then it's going to be a problem for people. So again, we must be an anomaly. I'm gonna be honest with you, but people have to be in the right space in their heart, in their mind, if they're going to become unequally yoked. If you're gonna become unequally yoked, then you got to find those common ground, those things that you do.
Yeah.
I guess those things that you do share the common ground on,
Hmm.
and you got to roll with that. If that is what helps your relationship thrive, um, then that's what it is.
Yeah.
But, like I said, there's more to the whole story, a relationship story. But from that point and from that aspect, people got to be secure within themselves. And
Okay.
I'll admit, I stood on that from day one. But, it can cause friction for people who don't. If you know yourself, know where you are, and even if you're confused about where you're at on your journey and your path, that's okay. Just still acknowledge where you are at that point where you enter, a relationship, and be real. I can't stand when people want to fake and and do things that for other, like they don't want to, what's the word, be authentic.
Be authentic.
Want to
Yeah.
be authentic. They want to try to put their Sunday best on. Oh, I want them to see me, dress up on Sunday. No, like people need to see you what you about. So that
Yeah.
way, if something does happen, they can't say, "Oh, you deceived me. You misrepresented yourself."
Absolutely. That's so
So
true.
not
So
for
true.
everyone, but
It is not for
those
everyone.
that are
Yeah.
mature enough to handle it and can do that and not be selfish, like in a sense, and um, or controlling. Let me say that word.
Mm.
Then it'll. It's about the vibes that you have with someone. How are they making you feel? How are they treat you?
Mm.
Are they okay with the way things are? If they're showing signs that they're not, that's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Hmm.
I'm gonna give you the last word here in a second. But I do want to say something real quickly. That was again another powerful statement you just had there, and it just drew me to, where that phrase "equally yoked" come from, which
Hmm.
is in Second Corinthians chapter 6 verse 14. And anytime we get to the part of Paul's letters, we need to really remember that he's speaking specifically to that church and to those people, and everything he says is overall good practice for Christians, but it isn't
Hmm.
a commandment. It isn't, an abomination. Those things are more clear cut and direct to what we should or shouldn't do. And so I think exactly what Sharita is saying here of this shouldn't be something that's done by everyone, because maybe everyone isn't mature enough to handle this. But to be married to someone of a different religion, by someone who has put the work in on yourself, and does put your spiritual life as a priority, and you
Hmm.
just a quality cognitive person, so I like to call it. You ain't stupid, you ain't crazy, as long as you in
Yeah,
that box, you very well will be able to manage this, and maintain a healthy marriage in that
yeah.
realm.
People
But
just gotta know themselves. And if you know you're not gonna be able to handle that for whatever the reason, don't
right.
do it. Don't do it.
Absolutely. Well, Sarith, it's been a joy and a pleasure having you on.
Same
I want to give
here.
you just one final word, whatever you have to say, just to leave our audience today.
What I guess for me, I would just say continue. I'm really big on self internal reflection and I know it's kind of cliche to say, but just that self-help, getting into in tune with yourself and improvement, just continue to work on that, because um women, ladies especially, and I know we're getting back to that video, but I just really want women to learn that you got to really get started on empowerment and whatever that looks like, whether that's spiritually, emotionally, read books, join book club, do what you have to do, have your own life outside of your man. That's number one, because the true support and camaraderie and communication that we all need is going to come from a woman. And women are trying to seek this from men, and it's not going to happen. Just stop it. Just stop it. You're bringing more pain into your life, thinking your man gonna be your best girlfriend. Like it's not going to happen, So don't isolate yourself from the other women in your life, whether they be sisters, just other, girlfriends, your mama. Just stay connected in that way and continue to work on yourself. And if you find yourself in the sunken place, um, connect with others and people to help get out of it because you end up being needy and you end up making videos like this woman did. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do
Don't do
that.
that.
Yes, indeed. Sarith, it was a joy to have you on.
Yes,
Really appreciate you once again. Look forward to having you on again.
absolutely. Same here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I enjoyed the conversation.
My honor and pleasure. Enjoy your day.
Yeah. You too. God bless.
Let's go.